migration opportunities and how to settle and manage in Australia. Very interesting topic. As Wayamba engineers, IESL Wayamba chapter, we make this opportunity to all of you who are willing to try to migrate to Australia or doing a job in Australia. So when it comes to IESL, in the pages, our WhatsApp groups, are so many comments in this topic. So why IESL promoting migration? So I will say why it is. Because I think as engineers, we are having a clear view, and we had a good opportunities. We'll have good opportunities in all around Sri Lanka as well as all around the world. And we can address the engineering society through the IESL, because that is our main body for professional engineers. And also IESL can help to provide qualified and professional engineers to the society. That is why, as Wayamba chapter, we choose IESL forum to make this event. So with this recent economic crisis in Sri Lanka and no development take place, so many engineers lost their jobs. As you all know, salary cuts and also huge taxes. So many engineers affected due to this economic crisis. So with this all going in the crisis, Australian government invites skilled migrants to come and settle in Australia. So we blend those two scenarios into one. That is why we are here, because the Australian government declared 200,000 plus migrants to come and settle in Australia in this financial year. So this will be a huge boost to our engineers. Not only the engineers who lost their jobs, as well as so many engineers like to do their career, to begin their career in Australia. So that is why we choose this event in this IESL forum. So with that behind scenes, I would like to invite our Iron Lady in Wayamba IESL Wayamba chapter, our chairperson, Engineer Lakmal Karunanak. It's over to you to welcome you all.
Thank you, Engineer Kusal. I warmly welcome all the participants to the panel discussion organized by IESL Wayamba chapter on the topic of migration opportunities and how to settle and manage in Australia. As the chairperson of IESL Wayamba chapter, I'm really happy to see this much of large audience to this program, because we did a lot of events during this session in the last 2 months, but we were unable to catch up at least 20 or 30 engineers. I think my colleagues will agree with me, because we analyzed that this is because of the crisis situation that they're facing in their lifestyles. Although all of us are facing so many challenges and difficulties in our lifestyles in Sri Lanka in this situation. So we, as IESL Wayamba chapter, we decided to do something important, something valuable to our membership. That's why we organized this panel discussion. Although some engineers criticize what we are doing, what is the purpose? Is this relevant to us? But we decided this is the most suitable time to discuss this topic, because as professionals, we know what to do. We are taking our decisions on our analyzing our own criteria, not because of the others. So that we organized this to help our engineers who are in the process of migration to Australia. So for that, for the panel discussion, we have selected the most suitable people, most suitable engineers who are living in Australia, because these two engineers are also members of Wayamba chapter from Wayamba, because they are very close to us. I think they are the best people who can share their experience and knowledge with the Wayamba engineers. So I warmly welcome our two resource persons, Engineer Tharindu Veerasinghe and Engineer Vajil Silva, and our EXCO members and all the participants of IESL Wayamba chapter to this panel discussion I request all of you to raise your problems and ask them and clarify them from our two resource persons. So I invite Engineer Kusal to proceed with the proceedings. Thank you.
Thank you very much, our chairperson, Engineer Lakmal Karunanayake. I think even though she is in a vehicle, he's eager to talk about why we organize this event to the beneficial of all the engineers, not only in Wayamba, but also in all around Sri Lanka. So without wasting any time, now we are going to do a self-introduction of the resource person. That's somewhat not happening in recent past in our kind of these forums, because they are the most suitable person, as our engineer Lakmali said, to conduct this event. So we are going to get introduced the two resource persons today. So first, I would like to invite our first resource person, Engineer Tarindu Veerasinghe. Engineer Tarindu, it's over to you.
Hello all. I hope you can hear me clearly and see me as well. A big hello from Perth, Western Australia. First of all, very glad to receive this kind of an invitation from my hometown's IESL chapter, so couldn't resist. So that's why I'm here today, meeting you online, just to share my experience with Vajra, to get on board to Australia if you are really interested. Special note that we are not migration agents or whatever, just sharing experience with our fellow engineers, fellow friends, if that helps to improve your lifestyles. Myself, Tarindu Veerasinghe, born and bred in Kurunegala, from Malideva College from year 1 to year 13, and then went to the University of Peradeniya, Faculty of Engineering, did engineering, computer engineering, and worked in several companies, software companies in Sri Lanka from 2007 to 2019, and then I had to come to Australia with my family, as my wife got a fellowship to pursue her higher studies, and then luckily I found a job and they sponsored me as a skilled migrant to stay in Australia. I'm still in that particular visa category. So we will share our experiences with you guys later. So that's a brief introduction. Kusal, I think it's enough, right?
Yes, sure. We can learn and we can gain many more during this 1 hour period from you guys. And next, I would like to invite our resource person today. That is none other than our engineer Vajra Silva. It's over to you, Engineer Vajra.
Hey guys, good evening again from Perth. While Perth might not be a hotspot for many migrants, I'm really glad that myself and Tarindu both live and work in Perth. So yeah, let me start with my brief introduction. I'm from Kurunegala as well. I'm studying in Malideva College and graduating from University of Moratuwa in 2009, and then I moved to Middle East, working in oil and gas industry for about close to 7 years, and then migrated to Australia in 2016 as a skilled migrant. And then I have worked for many companies, including mining and oil and gas companies, one of the largest mining companies as well, in Melbourne, South Australia, and in Western Australia as well, representing oil and gas, uranium, copper, iron ore, gold mining. So currently I work for a iron ore mining company. And when the invitation came to join hands with you guys to share our experience, I was more than happy. To be honest, I was delighted. As a migrant engineer, we had to go through some initial struggles which we will share today. Hopefully that will shed some light into you guys and whichever the paths you guys going to take. I hope that will be helpful. And yeah, I guess that's it from me, Kusal. Yeah.
Yes, thank you very much, Engineer Wajira. So a perfect blend from University of Moratu and University of Peradeniya, mechanical engineer and computer engineer. So both live in Perth. So both skilled migrants. So this 1 hour period would be a fascinated one, as I believe. So I think with you two guys, we can do a very fruitful evening today. So to start the proceedings, we have a presentation from these two experts. So first, I would like to invite again Engineer Wajira de Silva to start off the things. Over to you, Engineer Wajira.
Thanks, Kusal, and let me share my screen and let me know if you guys can see the screen.
Yes, we can see.
Yeah, see guys, this is a brief introduction on what we're gonna talk about. We're not gonna go into the details of this presentation. I'll just quickly run through this one so that you know which way the discussion is heading, and so you have a sort of an idea to ask questions or take notes or whatever. So we'll share. So the topic, obviously, Australian skilled migration based on personal experience. So we'll go to why professionals migrate, and then outline is what types of skill migrations available, what to have, how to proceed, and stuff like that. And then type of skill migrations, and then what are the categories or sub visa classes, and then we'll carry on with that topic a bit, and then and the skill assessment, how to go through these. We'll briefly touch base on that, and then challenges and information on finding job opportunities. So getting your visa is not the end, that's the beginning. So once you get your visa, once you come over here, there'll be numerous challenges in a new country. So how to adjust, and especially in how to find a job in a challenging environment. We'll share our experience and tell you to the best of our knowledge what you can do, how you can prepare. And believe me, when I migrated first year, I had no information on whatsoever how to find a job, man. I had to go through the struggle. Hopefully you don't have to go through the same struggle as me and many other engineers. But in this trying time, we'll try to do our best so that you get the best out of this for your future planning. And then we'll finish up with some general information plus questions from you guys. Engineer Kusal, that's the introduction of the presentation, what we're going to roll through. And I'll stop sharing my screen.
Yes, thank you very much, Engineer Wajira de Silva. Yes, as he mentioned, there is outline of today's discussion. So I think all the things will needed in this presentation, how to settle, how we can. He mentioned the getting the visa is not the end; it's just the beginning. There is a best thing, because if you want to live in Australia, you are going to settle in a different scenario. So to elaborate the presentation, and we can have a good discussion. So I invite Engineer Tharindu Veerasinghe to start off with the presentation.
Thank you, Kusal. Hope again you can hear me.
Yes, sure.
Cool. So let me share the screen. So thank you, Wajira, for going through the presentation, taking us through the presentation and the outline. Basically, we don't like to run through the presentation. We let you to read it because it has some URLs as well. Of course, you can find it online, but we have made it easier. If you click through the links, we have selected some important URLs, so you can you might have already seen these things, but sharing with our experience or blending it with our experience would be more beneficial in this particular presentation. So that is the basic objective or the basic requirement of today's presentation. So there are a few skilled migration categories. The easiest and the fastest way, not the easiest, I mean, the fastest way to get PR, of course, is the employer nominated scheme. That means if there is an employer who would like to get you on board with permanent residency, it is described in subclass 186. It is the quickest way at the moment. I think depending on the job requirement, it will be granted within 6 months, because I have friends who are software engineers, actually, 2 friends actually in my current workplace. They got the visa, the company sponsored visa, PR, within 6 months. And the other most famous one is 189, which is this point tested stream. Of course, 189 subclass gives you the permanent residency for all states. So that is the next, the best one, I would say. And the other ones, state nominated ones, which is a subclass 491, also a points tested stream. I know several of the current audience really have gone through the process of reading all these material and reading about the migration process. Some of you are more aware.
Engineer Tarindu, I'm disturbing for a while. There's a request from the audience to share the slideshow mode in the presentation.
Okay, right. No worries. Hope all good now.
Yes, thank you.
So as I was mentioning, F186 is the fastest and the quickest one. Of course, for that, you need to have your employer willing to sponsor you, regardless of the geographical location that you are in, whether you are onshore or offshore. They will consider if you are, if you are selected by that company. Actually, although I say it is it is the best and the easiest way, and it is really hard to find an employer who will sponsor you. But through the connections, through whatever the interweaves, there are organizations who are willing to sponsor for you in 186 and 189, 190. Those are skilled migration point tested PR, which you might have already known. For that. For a moment, I'll go through this particular slide because in whatever the visa category, definitely you have to have your English, English marks or English points ready. So the first and foremost, if you are really eager to migrate, my personal advice is that you do your English IELTS or PT or whatever OET or GRE TOEFL. You can select the best one for you and get the maximum marks. 20 points you can get. My personal advice, my personal experience is that I was able to score the maximum by doing PTE. It can be different for you guys, but it is up to you to decide what is the best English testing platform that you can use. Vajira,
Tarandu, yeah?
Yeah, Vajra, you can add your experience.
Yeah, let me add something on my experience. Yes, couldn't agree more with Tanduaya regarding the English exam. Now, you might have already gone to a few consultants and they would be very eager to get you signed on contracts. But my advice is get the IELTS or PDE exam done. And because that would be the biggest hurdle for your PR, whichever category it is. And on the other hand, just want to give you quick synopsis or hypothesis. IELTS or PDE is not an exam of your English knowledge. Now,
Exactly.
You'll be surprised to hear that.
Yes.
It is an exam to test how you use English. Just to give you a hypothesis, just imagine it as a vehicle, right? And if you just study the vehicle and never drive it, you wouldn't pass a driving test. Also, these exams are like driving tested. Whatever vehicle you have, could be a Maruti or a Benz car or a whatever race car. You just drive without having too many accidents and just pass, and you'll be fine. So don't worry too much about your English ability or your knowledge. Like if you ask me, I have scored 18 IELTS, but I don't know how many tenses are in English. So, but I was able because I did not try to learn English. I tried to practice English with the knowledge I have. So that's my advice for you guys. Don't, because I know in Sri Lanka, there are courses who not really tailored, but courses aimed at IELTS or PDE. But what I've seen is they try to teach you English, not let you practice. So if you come across a class that just teaching English, I think it's not really worth your money. Just try to find material. There are plenty of help online to practice yourself and try to get your skill. Because if you have a car and if you never drive, you won't be perfect at your driving. So that's my take on that. Yeah, Tanduaya, continue.
Yeah, spot on, Vajra. What he mentioned, in other words, was you have to practice and practice and practice mock exams. There are a lot of platforms, you know, probably if you can spare a few bucks. I know it's really hard, you know, with the dollar rates and all, but still worth it. There are some, you know, mock exam platforms which you can, you know, personally test for about 1 month and then do the exam. I think, again, personal experience, it is, you know, very worthy rather than going through what you call a physical training course for English. Then the skills assessment, believing that this particular audience are engineers, either Engineers Australia or Australian Computer Society, depending on your domain, you have to get the skills assessed. So when it comes to Engineers Australia, they need the English credential or English results in order to proceed with their assessment. So all relevant URLs are in this particular slide. In a question and answer session, we can you know, guide you through about those assessments, what they do. So I myself personally went through Australian Computer Society, because although I had this computer engineering degree, I went through the software engineer path. I think Vajra did the CDR and all stuff with the Engineers Australia. So we both can share, you know, both experiences. And then actually expression of interest. These are the things that you can do on your own, but again, it's your personal preference whether you go through a migration agent or do it on your own. Basically, this is not rocket science. It's a very clear process, especially given the fact that they have provided all the material online. You can do it yourself, but it is up to you. First and foremost, before going to anybody, do your English, do your skills assessment, and then you are ready. If you have, you know, positive outcomes, then you are ready to put on the expression of interest, which is free actually. Vajra, I think with this we can have a kind of a discussion if you want. Or Kusal, what do you reckon?
Yes, I can add a few questions in this regard.
Yeah.
So, as per my knowledge, there's also called the wet assess, skill assessment agent, especially for our civil engineers, because we can apply through the path called construction project manager. So it's not from Engineers Australia, it's from wet assess. So I can add for your points, you can use that also, because in recent past, for a civil engineer in the point stream, it was about 80 to 85 marks. But when it comes to construction project manager, it's about 60 to 65 marks. So we can add that also on behalf of civil engineers, right?
Yeah, and there are different bodies that assess engineers or professionals. Engineers Australia is just one among many. And if you could find other pathways, other professional categories that listed in skill migration program, and then try them by all means, because engineers categories are limited, that nominated or decided by Engineers Australia. How many engineers, we call the ceiling value, how many engineers would be taken for a particular job or designation, for example, mechanical engineers, civil engineers, and other engineers. So it's a competition among them is huge, and points required to get an invitation is high. And if you could find other pathways, by all means. And this is the thing, once you get your PR by any category, you don't necessarily have to practice that. You can actually practically come here as a technician and work as an engineer, right? So don't think that if you get a PR or any other visa on a particular job category, you don't have to do that job. And once you have PR and once you enter the country, the government or any other body doesn't really care what you do. It's up to you to practice. There are a lot of engineers who doesn't really practice engineering jobs, right? And on the other way around, you can come in any job and do whatever you want, as long as you don't violate the visa conditions. Most of the visa PR visa categories have unlimited work rights, and even state-sponsored ones, there is no legal requirement for you to stay in that particular state. Even though they say that you need to stay in 2 years, you don't really have to. So try to get your PR, whichever means easiest and quickest, right? So that's the first step.
Yeah, with that, actually, you guided us to a very good point. Coming into the country is what matters. It doesn't matter. In my experience, it doesn't matter whether you got PR or TR or whatever the employer sponsored visa. Come in if you are really eager. So
yes.
I know, if you are an experienced engineer over there, definitely you will have colleagues in Australia. Definitely you will have colleagues. You have colleagues in Australia. So make connections, and through the connections you can try to get this 482 as well. 482 subclass is the visa that they sponsor for 2 years or 4 years. The employer sponsored you as a skilled migrant of temporary resident, and then actually it is a pathway that you can be sponsored for 186 afterwards after 3 years. So I'm personally in that pathway now. So if I stay with the current employer for 3 more years, they assured me that they can give me PR. So that is a positive pathway. For that, actually, you need to know a few people over here and make connections. So there is no any kind of guaranteed, formal mechanism of make connections. So if you have, colleagues, reach out to them and, try whether their companies are willing to sponsor. Especially, there is a scarcity for electrical engineers, electronics engineers. Of course, in my domain, software engineers are actually now kind of, what do you call, they are, there are less vacancies as I have seen. but more than software engineers, they are willing to take other engineering domains, which is a good news actually for civil engineers, electrical, mechanical. And I'm really happy that a few of my batchmates got PR, during the recent few months. They got the 189s as well and 491s. So make connections and try to get the more suitable visa. And the other option would be, Vajra, correct me if I'm wrong, if they have the capacity, especially these young engineers, if they have the capacity to, start an MSc or a kind of a, education pathway just to come into the country, you have a good opportunity. But again, there should be capacity. When I say capacity, the monetary capacity, or you know what I mean. So if you have that particular capacity to come into the country, then once you come in, definitely, as my personal experience, there are numerous opportunities. So some says this is a land of opportunities, which I took some time to believe in, but now, Vajra, I believe in that statement. There is a land of opportunities.
Plenty of opportunities.
Yes.
Yeah, guys. Let me share one of my experience. And as Tarizo said, the most important thing is to come into the country. If you're willing to take the risk, now, the risk is something some people won't take, but there's a saying, luck favors the brave. And when I left Middle East, I had a really good job and well settled in one of the good oil and gas companies, but I realized Middle East is not for a long haul. I wanted to try some other country to settle and raise a family. And I took the risk, and here I am. And in being in the country is what makes all the difference. And one of my friends who came as a dependent of a student, his spouse was a student. So they were in Brisbane, and there were no examples that I could know of that got a professional job as an engineer who's on a dependent visa. But then we tried the best we could do. We prepared the CV to the Australian format, and we go through a few mock interviews, and we try all the avenues. And he got a job, and he not only he got a job, he got sponsored by that company on 186 class. But if that person or colleague try to get a job or PR and then come to this country, he might still be in Sri Lanka. So it's take a leap of faith and take the jump if you are willing to come here. And I don't know many people that has gone back to Sri Lanka once they come here. You would find opportunities and you would find paths. You just have to trust in yourself if you're willing to come. And the conditions are back in home is very trying and challenging. So it might would take the risk. But again, we are not visa consultants. We just share the success stories. We share our experience. That risk or the plunge might not be for everyone. So take very good consideration of your personal and individual circumstances before you make a choice. But yeah, there are numerous success stories that came here on different visa pathways, and then they got sponsored. And there are guys who came here to do a master's, and once they finish, they find jobs in companies who willing to sponsor them, because being here is what makes all the difference. If I'm not mistaken, Tarizo, you can add a few words.
Exactly, Vajra. Now, honestly, I have experience. Vajra has also experienced that Sri Lankan engineers, not only engineers but also other professionals, they are doing really well, because we have this built-in ability to succeed under pressure, work under pressure, and deliver. We have this kind of built-in generic genetic feature that we don't say no, and we thrive our best. And that feature you can witness if you are here. The Sri Lankan professionals are really doing well. You name it, engineers, doctors, other professionals, accountants, you name it, even the businessmen. Here in Perth, most of them are doing well, and even their families doing well, their children. It's almost more than 80%. I can hear success stories. In that sense, yes, it's good to be on this soil, but that doesn't mean that we don't love Sri Lanka. We love Sri Lanka, we support Sri Lanka, and we always consider Sri Lanka as our home. But yes, depending on the situation back there, so we don't need to teach you or spoon feed you to take decisions of your life. So you are the best judge to take decisions of your life. We are just sharing the experience or guiding you through. If somebody is willing to migrate, you can use these tips and experiences to improve yourself. The other thing that I would like to highlight is that I think you can see the screen, right?
Yes, you can.
Yeah. So here actually the social impression, I mean the Seek profile or LinkedIn, I have seen, especially in the software domain or the ICT domain, they do a screening on those appearances. So the content matters. And also there is so-called this Australian format of CVs, writing CVs, because I have heard, I have experienced that the AI selects the first set of CVs coming through. So you have to have certain keywords in your CVs. Vajra, I think, if I'm not mistaken, so is it the same with you guys?
Yeah. There's a certain format that you need to follow. That's called the chronographic order. The first page should be a synopsis, because most of the time, first page is your sell page. That you need to sell yourself in your first page. And remember, the idea of a CV is not to get a job, get an interview, right? And if they're impressed with your CV in the first page, then only they will go through the rest of the CV. So first page, try to put the summarized version of who you are, what you can offer, and then in the next 2 pages, don't make it too large or too long, 3-4 pages max, but try to show what you are and what you can offer in the first page. And then if any potential employer, if they're interested, they can go through the rest of your CV. So yeah, that's the format generally followed here.
Yeah. So Kusal, what would be the next step? Are we going for a kind of a Q&A?
Yes,
or...
those are very valuable comments. I think all the 300 participants would believe they can go to Australia and settle it, because your words are very encouraging.
Kusal, if
yes,
you can go back to the previous slide, let me add a few more points on that.
You can go. You share.
Yeah, this one.
Screen is shared.
Yeah. So as I mentioned earlier, getting your Australian visa is not the end, it's the beginning. So when you move here, irrespective of the discipline you're from, whether you are computer engineer, civil engineer, mechanical or electrical or whatever it is, local experience is the key. This might not be so true for computer engineers, because I've seen computer engineers scoring jobs pretty quickly. The reason might be there is no local experience in computer industry, because whether how you write a program or handle a program in Sri Lanka or in India, China or in Australia is not much different. But this is a bit different to the other core engineering categories like mechanical, civil, and electrical. Things are vastly different here. So they want to have local experience. Now, you need to have local experience to get a job, and then you need a job to get local experience. It's like a egg and hen story. So how do you break through this ice is very interesting and very challenging as well. I had to go through the same struggle at the beginning when I came here. I didn't have any local experience first time, and I wasn't getting any interviews or not even calls, and I was just what's happening here. So then I reach out to a few guys who been in the industry, and then I try to ask questions from very few interviews I got, and then I got to know that yes, local experience is the key. So how to get local experience? There are a few avenues. Is if you're not getting jobs, you can volunteer, you can get an internship through a few organizations. There are a few organizations which groom migrant engineers. We can share the details later. There are a few technical colleges or TAFE colleges and universities just sort of work, or a few other institutes. And then one other thing is short-term contracts. Now, when you land here, you might not get a permanent full-time job, but there'll be always opportunities in companies where people going on leave, or they have a rise in workload that they need a few extra hands for, let's say, for a month or 2 or 3 months or 6 months max. So they need someone, and when they have those sort of opportunities, they can't really look for people who have local experience. They need to get someone who's available. So a good idea would be to reach out to white collar recruiters in LinkedIn. So that's why having your LinkedIn profile attractive is very important. It's like a must-have thing apart from your CV. Yes, your CV profile is very important, but your LinkedIn profile couldn't be more important, because that's where these recruiters will go through and try to filter out people who are available to start on a short notice and to fill the gaps in the companies. And one other thing is that when you move to Australia, I know it's challenging and there's a lot of pressure to start and earn money. Most of us, even though in trying conditions, most of us have a comfortable life back in Sri Lanka. When you work as an engineer, sort of settle, and it's really unfortunate to see that you have to go through struggle, but that's the reality, let's face it. And when you come over here, it won't be any better at the beginning, believe me. You'll be overwhelmed with the challenges and stuff that you need to go through. And midst of that, you could be easily lost, that you might pick a job that not in your domain of expertise. But don't do that. That will kill your professional career for the rest of the life. I have seen that. Your first job is very important here. So try to remain focused on your relevant domain of expertise. That can help you. It's okay if you had to pick a job to put bread and butter on the table, but don't stick to that. Always remember, that's not your job. Your job is to find the professional job. It is sad to see some of the professionals, they never get out of that vicious cycle, because when you come here, you pick a job and then you start accumulating other expenses, and then you really can't quit. So it's okay, but don't make it your main job. So try to get back into your domain. And then let's say you are an engineer who's having experience in one area of industry. And if when you come here, you might find a job that not in the same field. And you need to make a very careful decision, because if you pick that, it's most likely that you'll be getting jobs in the same field hereafter, because they look at your most recent experience. So keep that in mind. I can't say that that's good or bad. It could be good as well. You could be finding a job in a field that it's much more interested than your previous field, but be careful and be mindful about your decision making. Those are the few points I want to add, and we can go to the rest. Kusal?
Yeah.
Yes,
Some other thing before I forget, Kusal, Vajra, excuse me, because sometimes, you need to give your 100%, actually not sometimes, always I give my 100% in whichever I participate. So one thing before I forget, if you are a young engineer, especially a young engineer, not like us, young bloke, young guy or a girl.
You look still young, Tanzania.
Thanks, mate. That's a compliment. I have collars. Yeah, I can raise my call. Thanks. But young in the sense, maybe if you are in your 20s, 30s, I think you have a great chance. So, and if you are willing to kind of work in a foreign country, work in a developed country. So hurry up, because in these skilled migration marking schemes, they give a certain amount of bigger portion for your age as well. So if you are willing to migrate and if you are young, hurry up. It's really important, and you probably might not have responsibilities like us. Some family responsibilities are less, and also you have the energy, you have these mental capabilities to study hard, and especially in these English exams. Not discouraging seniors, but if you are younger, definitely you have more chances, which is really good actually. And one other thing came to my mind right now is that I have heard, I'm not really thorough about that particular visa. They are getting on board the fresh graduates. Vajra, have you heard of that particular visa? It's
Yes.
a kind of a training visa. You don't need to have experience back there. They recruited. I mean, they get on board the fresh graduates. I have met two of them in person. But I couldn't ask the visa number. Obviously, it is online.
Yeah, it's there's a call. I think for universities which are accredited, universities which are accredited by Sydney Accord, University of Moratuwa, Peradeniya, and one more, maybe Ruhuna. Yeah, from 2014, if you are a graduate after 2014, or recent graduate, you can get fresh graduate visa or recent graduate visa. I'm not sure the visa category number as I said, but yeah, that'll give you a year and a half to come and work. So that's an opportunity for you to try. I have seen people come here, success stories.
476. I just searched. It's 476. Yeah, recognized graduate visa.
Yes, as far as I know, that gives you a year and a half to come and try your luck. And I have seen guys come here on that visa and find jobs and then start their career. I had seen some go back, but again, there's nothing to lose. Like if you are a recent graduate, if you know someone, let them know about this. You can come here, try your luck. Who knows? Get a job and start your career. If not, what's the worst could be? You can go back to Sri Lanka and get a few more years experience under your belt and then come again. Or at least seeing the country and how it works, it always put you in the forefront when you try next time. It's just I think it is an brief sample screening that you get exposed to, and then you can go back and use what you learned and try again. So yeah, there are opportunities. And for that 476 visa, there is no cap, and it's not expensive as well. You just apply and come here and see if it works for you. If you are young, obviously, and it's difficult with families, and especially if you have kids. And I don't think they would. I'm not sure what's the cutoff duration. There's a limit that like you have to be graduated in the so and so years. Within the last so and so years, could be 2 or 3. I'm not too sure how I look, but yeah, that's an opportunity. An easy one, but challenging to get a job, but still.
Yeah, Vajra, I can read you.
Yes, it is. Can I add a few things? Yes, 140. Yes, 176 visa. It should be under 31 years of age. Have completed an engineering degree at a specified education institution in past 2 years, not have previously been primary visa holder of 476. That is I think the easiest path for under 31 years engineers.
Yeah. It's a very, very good initiative by the Australian government. So why don't you take that chance if you are, under 31? So you can come and work and get the experience and maybe go back if you want to. Yeah,
and the point to be remembered is that the visa has expiry and it's valid only for a year and a half. So you need to get a job and you need to find an employer that willing to sponsor you for your PR or for your temporary visa or whatever. But then it's all up to you that how you sell yourself.
Exactly.
And if you are, and believe me, it's not your technical abilities, it's your soft abilities, soft skill that will land you a job and will make you success. And they're not really look for technical abilities out of uni. You know, you don't have that exposure like an experienced engineer. What they look for is your attitude. While it's not something hard to change or hard to get, unfortunately, some people might not have that capacity. But believe me, if you have the right attitude and if you have the right soft skill, that's what set you for success. That's my 2 cents on that, guys.
Yeah, Kusal and Vajra, let's open the
Yes,
floor for questions, I think.
Yes, I have noted down a few questions, so it's better to, I will ask
For
all
the
the questions.
for the completion of the presentation, I should add this particular category because we couldn't add it. Probably it will be valuable for the audience.
Yes, I will sum up few things we have discussed. Engineer Tarindu and Engineer Vajira mentioned about the probable visa categories and skill assessments, English competency, and the challenges and how to make opportunities in Australia. So, so we talked about many things. Once, if we believe once we granted the visa, so the opportunities, challenges, and how to proceed with the Australian soil. So this is a summary. But in the from audience, we had few questions. So shall we go for that questions or?
Yeah, guys. By all means, let's go with the question. We are, I think, approaching hour and a half mark. So let's go with the questions.
Yes, the first one is the Australia. Can we apply to a membership to get Australian engineers membership? Yeah, I think that was about IESL membership. And will it be a benefit to the skilled migrant as well as for masters? And also, what is the validity for international professional engineer qualification? That is the first question.
I'm not too sure whether there's a recognition from IESL to Engineers Australia. Tandoya, you can help on that one. You're very active on IESL and Engineers Australia front. So I'll pass on that to you, please.
Yes, Vajra. Regarding that, there is no special, what do you call, facility to facilitate that. But if you have the IESL corporate membership and if you have 15 years of industry experience, you can be a chartered member of Engineers Australia through through an interview. Otherwise, it is a very tedious process to get the charter, which I myself went through. But there is no any special thing, you don't need, you should not necessarily have the IESL membership. But what they consider is the educational institute, of course, Engineers Australia. It is under, if it is under the Washington Code, you need to check that online. I think Vajra, Moratua, Peradini, and Ruhuna, as we know, they are under the Washington Code. But better check, because I don't want to, make certain, statements which I'm not.
I think
sure.
Washington or Sydney Accord. If you are a graduate after 2014, you don't have to write CDI and all that. You just have to do a competency demonstration. It's like a one-page thing, and then you can get the accreditation or recognition from Engineers Australia.
That means if you want to have a skill assessment based on our degree, we should write that CDI report, no?
If you are graduated before 2014, you need to write a CDR.
Yeah.
Right. It's about 50 to 60 page. And you need to add a few chapters, and there's a guideline for that. But if you are a graduate after 2014, you don't have to go to the CDR part. It is a tedious thing. I struggle to write that. And
but not for the all professions, no?
not for the all professions. Like, see, if you if you are getting assessed by Engineers Australia,
Yes.
and if you have a degree before 2014 from
Yes.
one of those
Perfect.
institutes, yes, you need to go through CDR part. And if you're going through Engineers Australia as a skill assessment body and you have a degree after 2014, then you don't have to write a CDR. There's a simpler version of that, which is easier to do, and then you can get the recognition. Recognition only one part of your PR process, and that doesn't give you Engineers Australia membership, but it will let you know that yes, Engineers Australia recognize this person's education qualification and experience for the purpose of migration. And you can use that later to apply for the Engineers Australia membership. If I'm not mistaken, I cannot chip in with that.
Sorry, guys, I was not following because I'm, answering some direct messages because in the meantime, so Vajra, just, give me a heads up on that one. If you can read,
so
if you can read.
Yeah, what I just mentioned is that if you are a graduate before 2014, you need to write a CDR.
Yes.
And then Engineers Australia will let you know that whether they recognize your experience and qualification for the purpose of migrating. And that is not a membership of Engineers Australia, but that will just issue a letter or they
basically through the system, Vajra, what I have seen is they grant you this associate membership once you apply for the once you pay for the skilled migration. So they give you an associate membership. So it automatically bundles in similar with the Australian Computer Society. They give you the associate membership for 1 year. 1 year with the fee that you pay for the skilled migration. So if you want to be a member, then definitely you have to be a chartered engineer, or in Australian Computer Society, you want to be this get this certified professional tag, which is an evaluation based on your experience, and they conduct an interview, and kind of it's a certification program if you need to become a member. But those things actually, those are kind of one would say it's a cosmetic things. But yeah, of course, some organizations they do care about those kind of tags. But mostly in computer engineering software, actually, our guys actually they don't care much about those tags. But for you
in our industry, they do care, like because they don't know our degree or the universities that we graduated. They just look for your Engineers Australia membership. So most of the companies that I have joined recently, they look for a valid and current Engineers Australia membership. I think that's more particular on the core, like mechanical, electrical, and civil. But yeah, I have seen companies, they don't really care whether you are a member or not.
As long as you can do the work,
as long as you can do the work, they don't even ask you. See, I have not come across a single company that asks for your degree certificate. Never. Right. Never. So, and I haven't carried a single document to any of the interviews I had. They just ask you questions and they know that you can do the job or not. It's simple as that. So, as I said,
folks, I'm getting a lot of direct messages. How could I answer?
Right. As Engineer Vajira said, if you want to apply through
let me type
Yes Australia, if you pass out after 2014, you don't need to write CDR. Before 2014, CDR is a must if you applying through the Engineers Australia skill assessment, right? So make it clear. Right. Shall we go for another question?
Yeah, I think there was a question for me. What is the ability to get EA charter if you have IMEC charter? To be honest, I don't know, because I had IMEC membership. It didn't do any good or bad to get Engineers Australia skill assessment or membership. I don't know that would be any different to charter, but no idea, to be honest. Engineers Australia, as far as I know, they don't cross-recognize other countries' charters. Tando, do you know anything about charters? chartered engineering
yeah.
from IMechE. Do they recognize it here?
Personally, I can't make a comment because I should be 100% sure about that one. So I'm not sure about that one.
Yeah, all I can say, I had
Yes.
IMechE membership when I was applying for my PR, but that didn't do any good or bad. So
have you any
that's all I
idea
know.
about have you any idea about international professional membership that is granted by
INTPE?
IESL? Yes, ENTPE. So what is the validity or what is the recognition for that category in Australia?
Doesn't matter if you have INTPE not, definitely you have to go through this assessment process. But if you have this INTPE tag, your charter here, I mean, you can get the charter via interviews and actually via mutual recognition. So when I was doing my charter here, I had to start from scratch and do the bit here, as same as I did in Sri Lanka from 2014 to 15, and I don't need to mention the hardship of doing that. So if you have 15 years of experience and the INTPE through mutual recognition, Engineers Australia and Institute of Engineers Sri Lanka, IESL, they do have a mutual recognition where you can get the charter.
Yes, excuse me, Engineer Taridu. You mean even though we have INTP, you still you should have 15 years of experience.
Yes. That is, when I was doing it, I didn't have 15 years of experience plus INTP. I got the INTP last year. So by that time, actually, I have earned the charter from Engineers Australia. Yes, that's how. Probably they haven't, I haven't gone through their website about this mutual recognition now because yes, I have done that.
We'll see.
Just please feel free to search online, because when you search online, definitely go to the relevant site, engineersaustralia.com.au. And Australian Computer Society, acs.org. So those are the things then you can refer to.
Right. Shall we go for another question?
Yeah, sure.
Yes, it's about the visa categories. As you mentioned, there are so many categories for skilled migrants. So we deeply talked about 476 for fresh graduates, and this called 189, 190, 491. So that is a temporary visa. So what are the advantages and disadvantages of those PR and TRs? If you take, what are the privileges?
Okay,
those,
Vajra, I can, because I'm still in a TR situation, I can explain that. And so basically, if you can get PR, that is the best thing, because you do have this Medicare and all other stuff, other facilities, and you can buy a house. Until you get a PR, you are considered as a foreign resident. But if you get this 491 visa, which is a TR, you have all those facilities apart from the government considering you as a foreign resident. You get the Medicare, you are in a PR pathway after 3 years. In 491, you will get the PR after 3 years if you can show them that you have this what you call minimum wages earned and paid taxes for 3 years. Definitely you can get the PR. You don't have to pay that much of money. It's a small amount of money after 491. So that is there. So yes, yes, there are pros and cons. Definitely, if you can get PR, that is the best way. But if you are eager to come into the country, definitely, whichever the visa that you get, my advice is to come in.
Yes, I think one difference would be the schooling for kids. Do you know anything on that?
Yes, schooling for yeah, good point, Vajra. Very good point.
Good question.
Yes,
question for our engineers.
Yes, when I was in 407 visa initially, because I came for my wife's fellowship, she got this 407, which is a training visa. they actually, the spouse couldn't work full time. It is, labeled as 40 hours fortnight. That means 20 hours per week. Actually, that what made my employer to sponsor me. They wanted me full time. I was working for them, 4 hours per day. So when it comes to school fees, for 407, we didn't pay, but for 482, actually, we are paying. For example, around $4,000 per annum.
For public schools.
For public schools, of course, if you are, if you are capable, or if you have the capacity to monetary capacity to, send your child or children to private schools, then it is that tuition fee. I mean, that school fee. So that is private school. It's open for all. So if you can pay the money.
Yeah, and like in Australia, there is no huge difference between private and public schools. There are good public schools and there are good private schools, and there are bad public schools and there are bad private schools. So it's about what you prefer and how much you can pay. If you are a permanent resident, you don't have to pay for school, your kids' school fees. It's entirely free. I think permanent resident is the best thing. I think Sanjay touch base on that. Like, it gets you everything except voting rights from a citizen perspective, which is a good thing because you don't have to vote. You don't. If you're in this country, if you don't vote, you get a fine. So I was a PR and I've never voted, and then I got my citizenship a couple of years ago, and I forgot to vote one time, and I had to pay a fine as well. So being in PR is the best thing, so that you don't you have every privilege of being a citizen, but you don't have the responsibilities of a citizen.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, Engineer Wajira. It means, if it is possible, it's better to go for a PR visa. 189.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. By all means, make your life easy. See,
189,
moving to a country,
190. Yeah.
Yes.
And even 186 as well. That's a PR, if I'm not mistaken. So whatever category says permanent resident, that's the best option if you could come to, because moving from one country to another is already hard. You have to leave a lot of things behind. You have to uproot yourself from a society that you lived for many years, and then you have to come here and plant yourself. That's hard enough. But then on top of that, if you have to pay for his kids' school fees and pay for the medical fees, and for other things, it's really hard. Like in my case, I came here as a permanent resident, and I never had to pay for anything on my medical bills. I had 2 kids, and they're all taken care by the government. I never even saw a bill. And whenever I need to go to a doctor, I just ring and go there, and that's it. And that's the luxury if you can have.
Yes.
Exactly.
But again,
yeah,
if you can't have that, then go for the next best option. Just don't delay coming here just because you don't have the best option. Sometimes in life we have to settle for the next best option. I'm pretty sure we have done that plenty of times. So and see where you can land to. Yeah, Tanvir, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. So the other thing that I would like to touch base on, if you already have a PhD, why not trying this global talent visa? And also, if you have an international recognition, like an international recognized industry award, only that you have to do is find a nominator from here. I'm pretty sure that most of you have your colleagues and in Australia who can kind of nominate you, or else a professional body like Engineers Australia or Australian Computers. So they do have a separate stream to evaluate you, whether they can nominate you in this global talent visa category, which is also a fast-tracked visa. And if you do have a PhD, and if you or if you have what do you call this internationally recognized industry award, you can apply. Just it's beyond the normal process. You don't have to pay a huge amount of money. I think you don't have to pay upfront to lodge the expression of interest, of course, but it's not unlike other visa. They treat you as a special person, and that is one thing that you can have, apply. I have put that in the slides as well.
the other thing is the global talent visa doesn't have an age limit. When you apply for PR, there's a limit that you can apply. If you have to be under 45 years old, but for the global talent, you can apply at any age. I have a relative that got global talent visa. She's just touching 50, but they got recently PR through that category. So, which is a good thing. And if you are like, see, after 45, and if you've been in the same industry, you're sort of an expert, and they value that expertise over here. And that's, I think, one way of recognizing that expertise by offering that global talent visa. So try that avenue as well if you could. If you have sort of an industry expertise and a PhD, or any other recognition industry, and it's worth trying. We all we can do is try.
Yes, thank you very much, Engineer Vajira. So adding a few points to that. So audience ask about what is the difference between 190 and 189. 189 means you can live and work anywhere in Australia. 190 means your visa will be granted for designated state. So you can, yes.
Again, yes. So the difference between 189 is it's not sponsored by any state. 190 is sponsored by a certain state. Yes. But again, the visa condition says you need to stay in that particular state for 2 years. Yes. But that's not a legal requirement. I have seen plenty of people moving around, So as we started discussion, we mentioned that what's most important is to come here. So if any state sponsor your visa, get that, come here and try to get a job there by all means. And if you can't get a job, then you have to move, right? And I don't think anyone can prosecute you for finding a job in somewhere else. The difference is sponsored by state versus not sponsored by state, and that's it.
Yes, thank you very much, Engineer Vajira. So another question from the audience. A typical, I would say, must needed question, that is PT or IELTS.
Yes, that is one of the questions that I'm typing the answer for. My experience, PTE, but I'm not promoting it. I just want you to get the maximum marks. So my experience is PTE because it's more technical in the sense it is evaluated by an AI, machine or whatever the, let's say in very late term, it's a computer that you evaluate you. So if you can speak well, if you can listen well and, type the answers, it's not all about English. It's about, focusing and, following the instructions. So it doesn't mean that if you have a very good English background, it doesn't say that you can pass PT really well. But if you, can follow the test procedure really well, I think you all can do that because you all are engineers. So you have these analytical brains. So I think you can definitely score higher marks than IELTS. That is my personal experience, but for someone else, it will be different. So since this is a personal experience sharing, for me, it is PTE.
Yeah,
but it can be different for other ones.
I have come across a few people which share the same thoughts. Well, I haven't done PTE, but I have seen people say PTE is much easier, or a little bit easier than IELTS, and it's easier to crack. But whichever exam you do, think it as just an exam. And you guys are really good at cracking exams. And don't be afraid just because of English. Just take it as an exam. There are tricks. We all know that how we pass exams. We have gone through that. So think it is an exam and go through the tricks. You'll be fine. Follow the instruction. Know what the exam and tricks are. Just do that. And see, if you are unable to decide which one to take both. I know it's expensive, unfortunately, but if you take both, then you would know which one is better for you. And then you can focus your energy on which one that can get you the best of the marks.
Yes, thank you very much for your thoughts, either PT or IELTS, just do it and submit the skill assessment. That is the message from our expertise today, Engineer Ajit and Engineer Tarindu. Thank you very much for those things. Yes, another question from Don I have noted down. So, yes, how about the settling in Australia? It means I think he's asking about the residences, how we can get purchase or hire or rent houses, vehicles, and other things.
When you first come to Australia, Uptown, hope you don't mind if I go through that.
Yeah, sure, of course.
Yeah, see,
Well,
first when you come to Australia, let's say you got sponsored by a state, then obviously you need to go there and try your job. If not, then you can come to any state that has the most potential for your job category. You know, there are certain states have more vacancies, so you can try. We can touch base on that later. But yeah, when you come, you need to rent a house. And renting a house, well, doing anything for the first time is hard in Australia. Getting a house, getting a car, getting a loan, getting a job, everything is hard. But there are ways that if you can't, because the rental market is really tight at the moment, especially in Perth, and I think in other cities the same. So when you put an application, if someone has a rental history than you, who's been living here for more years, they would get the preference. So what the tricks you can do is first see the area you want to live and your budget, and then try to pay upfront, let's say 3 or 4 or 6 installment when you don't have rental history. Plus, you can get a reference letter from one of your friends that, let's say you come here and stayed with a friend for a few months or a couple of weeks, and then get a letter from them saying this guy was staying with us for a couple of weeks or a couple of months, and he's been sharing our expenses as well. So then he's been paying on time and with the name and address, and then show that to the rental agent. So that will help you to get a job, rental property. And then getting a car, yes, obviously. Get a second-hand car, which is cheap here. You know, you can get a decent car. Well, cars going expensive, right? Tarindwaya, they've been really cheaper when I first came here, but second-hand market has gone up due to COVID and all that. But again, you can find a decent car for about $4,000 to $5,000 around that mark. Probably they're 20 years old, but we'll get the job done. And then typical rent in Melbourne,
rent
probably
has
around
gone up.
Everything going up. Yeah, when I was there, I was paying only 300 per week. But I think consider about around 400 per week. But the best thing, see, options you can do is try to share with a friend. And when you get PR, the best thing is come alone yourself first. If you are the person who is getting visa, try to come here first by yourself, try to get a job, and then you can share a room with one of a friend or in a friend house. You can share expenses, use public transport as much as you can. And once you get a job, and then you can get your family here, get a house and get a vehicle and the rest of the stuff. That's my take on that. Tanda, you can add with your insights.
Yeah, very true, Vajra. I mean, everything has gone up. I'm not scaring you, but you know, inflation has hit Australia as well. It's you know, especially Western Australia. I have read that it is the highest. It has the highest rate of inflation among all other states. But luckily we still survive. So they predict a kind of a global recession. So be aware of those facts. So if you already lead a very comfortable life in Sri Lanka right now, and if you are kind of mid-career engineer, you just really decide on your own, because you are the person who decide yourself, you know, take decisions about yourself, decide because if you don't see a very, very clear pathway of finding some occupation here, especially if you are if you are an established engineer over there, just just analyze well. For young engineers, I think, they should take a risk and come over and, kind of, you have time to test. But if for kind of experienced engineers, if you are, kind of nearing 45, the skilled migration pathways are limited because they cut off from 45. But then you can, of course, try other kind of visa categories, which is not considering the age, actually. Can we find jobs from other parts of Australia even we come through 491? That's a very quick question that I got. Yes, we can find 491. Yes, of course, it's a state-nominated skilled migration pathway. Can we find jobs from other parts of Australia even we come through 491? The 491, they have kind of eased the rules. So if you, for certain amount of period, that if you can't find a job in the state that you received the TR 491, definitely I know that you can inform the relevant body of the migration, state migration body, and definitely then you can make a move for another state. That is one thing that they have reduced. So Kusal, are we taking more questions, or what is the time limit actually?
Yes, we can finish it off around 16:30, means 6:30 from Sri Lankan time. You are only 2 hours longer than us, no?
2.5 hours, luckily, yes.
Yes, 2.5, right. Okay, so those are the few questions asked from the audience. So if I summarize what we discussed today, so we discussed about, so then Engineer Wajira and Engineer Tharindra, you can add few more things to finish it off the proceedings. So shall I summarize a few points what we discussed?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, let me ask a question there. So sorry guys, I know there were questions directed to me as well, but I didn't bother typing answers as Kusal has noted down what are the questions that need to be answered. But there was a question. Someone says graduated from Open University, so I would like to know its validity to Australia. When I applied in 2013, when I started, in degree from University of Moratuwa was not recognized here. So I had to go through the CDR part, right? It's as if like a degree from any institute in the world, from any country. So just because you're not from those 3 universities in Moratuwa, Ruhuna, or Peradeniya, then it doesn't mean that you can't migrate. You just have to write to Engineers Australia, show your competencies and show what you have gained over the years and what's the course content, and they may recognize. And that's for anybody in any institute who's graduated from any institute or from any other country. So don't be afraid. And see, some of the Sri Lankans might be graduating from universities overseas, which are not recognized. But yes, I have seen people coming over here that you can still try. But the path is a bit tricky. You need to write a CDR, and there are guidelines in the Engineers Australia website how to write them, submit that. You have to risk the fee because it's non-refundable. You may get the assessment okay, or you might not get the assessment, but they might give you idea what to do to get it recognized. So yeah, degree is not something that you can do easily and repeatedly. So if you graduated from any university or any institute, try by all means if you want to.
Yes, very good answer. Right. So I will summarize what we have discussed today. The thoughts shared by Engineer Tharindra and Engineer Wajira. So first, you had to select your path as both mentioned. You had gone through the first the English assessment, PTO, IELTS. Then you can go for a skill assessment as your profession. You can have many assessment institutions, Engineers Australia, computer agency, then VET assess. so many things. So based on your profession, the assessment will be different. And the special point, as Engineer Majira mentioned, if you pass out before 2014, if you are applying the skill assessment through Engineers Australia, you have to do that CDR report, right? Then you can score marks for your age, your skill assessment, your English, and other things. So based on that, you can lodge your EOI, right? So that is the process. You can apply EOI for those visa categories 189, 190, 149. So many opportunities in the visa categories also. So that is the path, right? That is the path. So I think today we had good inputs from our expertise. So once you landed in Australia, so that is the big thing, as Engineer Wajir said. If you granted the visa, it's just the beginning, right? So that is the short summary of how you apply for a visa. And Engineer Wajir, you can share your final thoughts among us to finish off this session.
To
Wajir,
finish
over to
it off, yeah, I'll touch base on a couple of questions. I know many would be thinking that one ask, please explain briefly about the income or expense for a family in Australian dollars. Yeah, it's a hot topic. But I'm not going to tell how much salary that we can earn, but I can give you a rough guide. For a family of a decent size, let's say you have a kid or two, approximate expenses would be 3,000 to 4,000. It could be anything, based on your lifestyle, but 3,000 to 5,000. That's sort of with your rent and your car and all that. And you can get a decent income, let's say 6,000 to 7,000 as a start salary after taxes. We don't call monthly salary here; it's annual salary for engineers. I know only mechanical and core other engineers like electrical or civil. You can get a income for about 100 to 120. I can touch base on other professions like computer engineers. It would be around the same, if I'm not mistaken. And then based on the companies, and it goes up and your experience. So that's income and expense. And there was other question. What's the best city to start as a mechanical engineer if not under state conditions? Is it Perth? For mechanical engineers, if you are into resource industry, there are two states that I would say the best. That's Queensland and Western Australia. They have biggest resource industries in Australia and Northern Territory as well. So after those two, Northern Territory would be an option as well if you are a mechanical engineer. But having said that, I found a job in Melbourne as an oil and gas industry engineer. So you can find jobs if you try hard in any state, but those two state and one territory make your life a bit easier if you are a mechanical engineer. So that's my take on that. And what do you think?
Yeah, first of all, thanks a lot for allowing us to share this experience. I believe it may have helped a bit. So with the volume of questions that I have when Vajra has received, I think it's a kind of a knowledge sharing or experience sharing session, which was, I think, fruitful. So thank you, IESL, Wayamba, Lakmali, and Kusal, all the other guys. A big shout out to you guys. Thanks a lot. And again, we are not migration experts, but just sharing the experience as professionals about the salaries. Vajra, I think it depends, especially. But knowing all this facts regarding the other states as well. Okay, right.
Yes, you can go.
I think my personal experience, I think in certain engineering domains and certain other professionals, WA pays the higher salaries. But when it comes to software engineers, Victoria, Sydney, they have more opportunities, honestly. Because those states actually they do have a lot of IT companies established over there. But Perth also is a kind of a rising destination for software engineers. There are a lot of software companies, but more than Perth, they have a lot of exposures back in Sydney and Melbourne. But having said that, the living expenses could be different, more than what you can see in WA. I'm not promoting WA, but because yes, you can earn, you can earn in a way that you can lead a better life. So
yeah, good salary, cheaper house
Yeah.
compared to Sydney and Melbourne.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So that's it. Thanks a lot for joining us. And if you do have any questions, maybe you can pass it through IESL Wayamba, and we wish you all the very best. To get your kind of visa and all those stuff correctly done. Yeah, happy to be a helping hand.
Yeah, guys,
Yes, sir.
and again, thank you very much for inviting us, and it was a really good opportunity for us to share our experience, and I'm more than happy and delighted to share my experience. For anyone that can gain anything out of this would be awesome. And thanks again for IESL and IESL Wayamba chapter and Lakmali, Engineer Lakmali and Engineer Kusal for arranging this, and wish you all the best. Hope you all succeed, and hope I'll see you all down here one day.
Yeah.
Yes, thank
Say
you
hi
very
to
much.
us in Perth.
Yes. Yes, Engineer Tarindu, Engineer Wajira, who join us all the way from Australia, Perth, from Western Australia. I think the many questions are flowing based on our discussion. So surely it's a good topic, timely topic, because so many people are talking about migrating Australia, New Zealand, and so many questions. But now I think with your input, today we had a clear idea about how we can process in this migration process. So thank you very much, Engineer Wajira, again, Engineer Tarindu. So I would invite our Senior Secretary, Engineer Ramal Amadoru, to deliver the vote of thanks. Engineer Ramal.
Thank you, Kusal. Actually, we had a very wonderful session, that brainstorming. That mean in the initially we got actually that negative feedback from our general public. That mean engineers. But today we proved that we did the correct session for correct time for correct engineers. What we are focusing that not promoting the migration. We are only talking about the knowledge sharing and personal experience and helpful tips for already committed engineers who are willing to migrate. That's the thing we did, and I personally know these two resource persons. Actually, Vajra was I was with him in my university time.
You were sharing neighboring board houses. We had very good experience.
Don't go into details, I think. Yeah.
No, you just stop there, but just mention that.
No.
Yeah, they were.
I remember.
I was just kidding.
Yeah, engineer Tarindu, his mother is my one of the great teacher in my school time, and thank you very much for your giving us very comprehensive experience in this matter, and I believe this will help to the persons who are willing to migrate. And actually, thank you again very much for our engineer Tarindu and engineer Wajira. And also, I would like to thank engineer Kusal for moderating this session very clearly and very good manner. And also, I have to remember that we had more than 300 participants. That means houseful audience. And finally, I thank all the members who participated this event for to success this event. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, Engineer Ramal. Engineer Lakmal is there.
Yes.
Have you any thoughts about? Yes, you were in the car when you were
Yes,
doing the welcome speech.
Yes, I have something to tell about the two resources. When I requested them, they accepted the invitation at first instance, and they prepared really well and always discussing with me more than I committed to this program. They committed a lot of their time and their efforts to the success of this event. So I'm really thankful to Engineer Tharindra and Engineer Vajra, who did a wonderful presentation and clear all the problems. They were always asking, are we suitable for this? I said, you are the best for this. So you proved that you are the best persons who can share your ideas and knowledge sharing, because this is, as I believe that having too much of knowledge and experience is not the best thing to share the knowledge. You have the quality to give something to the mind of the audience, to mind of the heart and mind for the listeners. So you did it really well. Thank you very much, Engineer Tharindra, Engineer Vajra. I have no words to thank you. And so thank you very much, Engineer Kusal, for moderating. And I know that he is having a lot of knowledge about this topic. So I thank Engineer Kusal and my team to support me to make this event success. Thank you, sir.
So thank you very much, Engineer Lakmal, our chairperson of Wayamba chapter IESL. So it was a hot topic. So why we are more promoting migration now? The news is clear. The topic is clear. Why we did that. So thank you very much again. Finally, Engineer Vajra and Engineer Tharindu. You are from Wayamba, so you are helping your people. That's the best thing. Right. With that, we'll conclude such a wonderful event. So thank you very much for the organizers, the chairperson, and all other committee. So thank you very much. Hope you guys soon with the.
It's our pleasure. Stay safe.
Yeah.
Good night. Yeah.
So if you have any
From
question, please get to us so we can help you with our knowledge. So thank you very much.
Exactly.
No worries,
Stay safe
guys.
all.
Thank you.